Did you see the voter ID CNN did poll? Do you have that, Rob? CNN did a video, Harry Enton, talking about how Americans feel. I send it to you. It's in my notes if you want to go to it, Rob.
I've seen that. And you know what? It is overwhelming, even amongst the population that we're told is going to be disadvantaged. I think it was over 70% of African Americans or blacks who wanted voter ID. And it's a massive percentage of Democrats wanted. I think overall it's over 80% of the population wants it. I mean, my God, how much more? Oh, here we go. 71% of Democrats, 95% of Republicans.
Play the clip, Rob.
It's the racial breakdown on this, right? Because I think a lot of people make the argument that people of color, non-white Americans, have a harder time procuring a photo ID to vote. But even here, take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
The vast majority.
I love how Nikki is now our chief political analyst. No, she is. And you know what? I don't know if you've seen this video. It's got a lot of views. Army Horowitz, excuse me, he's a regular on my show. He went to some, where was he? He was in California and New York, and he was, talking to some fairly affluent looking, in affluent areas, talking to white folk about voter ID, and almost all of them, it's racist, it's this. And the bigotry of low expectations with these people, they are so racist. The woke elite are the most openly racist people, I think, in this country. They really are. And they're almost blind to, just this suggestion that blacks are too dumb or too impoverished, too just out of touch to be able to get ID. And then Army went into a black neighbourhood and asked them the same question, and they just looked at him like he was absolutely retarded. They're like, what do you mean we don't have ID? Like, what? Like, they were insulted by the mere suggestion that it was hard to get ID. So, yeah, that was a clip I played recently because, it's always timely. And I think he filmed this actually a few years ago, but, yeah, as relevant now as ever.
Yesterday, I don't know what it was, Rob. I don't know if you can find this or not. Elon retweeted something about a guy going after Chuck Schumer because Chuck Schumer said something like, it's unfair. You're making it difficult for people to vote. You're making it difficult for people to do this. And he went after him. I don't know if you have that clip. You can play this clip as well, briefly. Go for it.
It's the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting.
See, this is where my righteous anger pop up because I know what he's saying is a lie. I live in the South. I've been living in the South my whole life on the Gulf Coast. I go to vote every single time there's an election. And guess what? I show my ID. I write my signature. They check to make sure who I am. I go vote. No problems. Nobody asking me any questions. Nobody making me count the jelly beans in the jar. And quit lumping us in the people of color category. We're black Americans. And we are citizens, and nobody is taking away our right to vote. What they are doing is they're using black people, going back in the past, provoking emotional manipulation, because they know if they say Jim Crow or slavery, black people are going to be like, oh my God, he's right. They're coming against us. This has nothing to do with you, black people. Wake up. People of color he talking about is illegal migrants. They don't have IDs. That's their new voting base. Letting these people use you. I've been having an ID since I was 15 years old.
You can stop it right there. Common sense just makes it out, right, to the market, and then they have to try to defend it. But
I mean, can you imagine any issue other than, I guess, the trans issue with the excesses of the trans movement, any issue where you've got over 80% of the population on one side, and yet you've got the Democrats willing to die on this hill saying, no, we're going to stand against this. So why would they do that? Why would they stand against a policy where more than 70% of their voters are pro-voter ID, where over 80% of the general population? You would only do it if there's some benefit in not having voter ID, which is you're cheating. Why else would you take a position that is so unpopular? They're not dumb. They're liars. There's a difference. And I think you've just got to call it out. I don't know if it's going to be remedied, though, because it's going to be so difficult to fix this once it's...
They get this. It's so massive in America if they pull this off. If they pull off the voter ID, it is so massive for America moving forward. And they will be panicking because they will be losing the control. The business model of bringing illegal immigrants in and opening up the borders will not work anymore. What do you do with them now?
Yeah. And you know what? A lot of the migrants that they've counted on, the ones who came here legally, and they just thought, we've got voters for life. They're Hispanic. They're going to be voting for us. Well, no. As with a lot of other migrant groups, including Asian Americans, they're socially conservative. They're aspirational. They are not natural Democrat voters. And I think Trump has been just so enormously successful in winning them over. I don't know if future Republican presidential candidates will have the same success he's had, but he's shown that they're not lifelong Democrat voters. That's such another huge achievement for President Trump, because I think that's completely changed the thinking of a lot of political analysts who just thought, oh yeah, look at the demographics of this area. This seat goes, well, no longer. And it's something I think in Australia and in the UK, the Conservative side needs to appreciate a lot more, that you need to reach out to these migrant communities because they are your voters if you just pay a little bit of attention. They are socially conservative. They don't want their kids indoctrinated with this crazy bullshit at school. They don't want to be crippled with taxes. They want to build wealth. They want to have financial security, and they want to have traditional family values. And no parties on the left represent those things.
By the way, this is Chuck Schumer. This is one of the clips.
How long has this idiot been in power?
Oh, longer than you and I have been alive.
I know. This is, there's this thing to be said about term limits, isn't there?
Yeah. Rob, you have this? Go for it.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. Right. All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. Let's admit the truth. Everywhere
it's politics, right? They're playing politics and...
But they're playing politics. He is taking a position he knows 3 in 4 Democrat voters are against because he knows they're getting a benefit from those illegal votes. Otherwise, you wouldn't.
Why would you do it?
Why would you take? I mean, it normally takes a real bravery to take a position that a minority supports, and you would only do it if you're getting a benefit. And so they know they're getting a benefit. I don't know how big that benefit is, but it must be significant for them to die on this hill.
Well, for some of you that are watching it that are fans, she's officially on Minnect. So if you want to Minnect her and ask her questions, you can. I think her QR code is going to be somewhere below here.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.